name is George Ramirez, and this is Genesis Duran, and we work for the Lawrence Partnership. And we created this program, Know Your City, 3 years ago as a way to inform the community about everything that is going on in the community. We've had from the mayor to the president of Lawrence General to the police department to the Historic Society. We've had everybody in the community come and say a few words. The program is filmed by Lawrence Cable Network, and it runs throughout the month. So sometimes our attendance can yield 100 people that have come with pitchforks, because depending on the issue. And other times we just get a very laid back group like yourselves wanting to learn more about what's going on in Lawrence. So we can't really control the attendance despite the hard work that Genesis does on social media and with flyers. But in any case, thank you all for coming. It really means a lot. We are also just grateful for the library to let us do this. We do it once a month throughout the year. Jonas Astanza is supposed to come and say a few words, but he is not here yet, and we don't know if he's detained permanently or just running late. So we are going to start with Amita Kiley, who's going to say a few words about the Lawrence History Center. Amita?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming tonight. I'm so glad to be here to tell you about our organization. As George said, my name is Amita Kiley. I'm the collections manager and research coordinator at the Lawrence History Center. We're a private, nonprofit archive and research center located at 6 Essex Street, right at the beginning of Essex Street. And again, I'm so glad to be here tonight. Okay, next slide. We were founded as the Immigrant City Archives back in 1978 by a German immigrant named Eartha Dengler, who is pictured here. Eartha was born in Germany and lived and survived through World War II and couldn't wait to immigrate to the United States. And she was finally able to come here with her husband and her daughter in 1951 and eventually moved to Andover, and in the late 1970s began volunteering at the YWCA in Lawrence, right down there. When she was volunteering there, one of the first things they had her do was clean out one of their closets. And when she opened the closet, it had all of their original records dating back to 1890. So records of all the different immigrant women who had been a part of the YW, notes from their meetings, what did they discuss during all these years from 1890 all the way up to the present of 1978 when Eartha was volunteering. And when she asked them what should she do with these records, they said, well, they're obsolete, we don't really need them, we don't look at them, you can just get rid of them. And Eartha tried to find a place to give them to, like another archive or another historical society or anywhere that would take them. And back then, the only game in town was really what was then called the Merrimack Valley Textile Museum, and they were in North Andover, and they really focused more on textiles and machinery and mills, not so much on immigrant voices and stories of everyday people the way these YWCA records did. So they told Eartha they weren't interested, and Eartha couldn't find a home for them. And so that got her thinking, what else is at risk of being thrown away, of being lost, of being destroyed, because there was no place to give it to. So that prompted her to found the Immigrant City Archives, and the records from the YWCA are our very first collection. And the YW let her keep them in that closet, and they let her add to the closet. So she started collecting. She would go to people she knew, people she didn't know, to churches, to schools, to neighborhood groups, anyone, just telling them about the archive she was starting and how important it was to save these voices before they were lost forever, and did they have anything they wanted to donate to this archive. And she said the biggest hurdle she faced was people not knowing their story was important or not thinking Eartha would want their material. And that was precisely what she wanted. She wanted the stories of everyday people in Lawrence, not just the mill owners, not just the mayors, the everyday people, because that's the heart and soul of the city. And Eartha was very convincing. I know some in the audience knew Eartha. I've met her a few times, but I didn't work with her. She'd retired by then. But she started just collecting and outgrew that closet very quickly. From there, she was able to acquire a space in the South Lawrence branch of the library on Parker Street. And she had one room, kind of a smallish room, where again, she's collecting, the archives is in that room, people are coming to do research, people are coming to donate items, and the collection is just growing, and the the interest in Lawrence history is building and building. And finally, when she really outgrew that space, the former headquarters of the Essex Company came on the market for sale, and Eartha knew she had to get those headquarters for our new home. Okay, next slide. So the Lawrence History Center headquarters, our headquarters, again, is located in the former headquarters of the Essex Company. And the Essex Company was the group that created and developed Lawrence in the 1840s from land that was Methuen on the north side of the Merrimack River and Andover on the south side. They built their headquarters in 1883 because the city was growing so quickly, and the Essex Company needed to really have their own whole compound where they can meet the needs of the residents of the city. So they built this, what you're looking at, in 1883. And our facility consists of a main office building, which is where the archive is and the research room, but also a carpenter shop, a warehouse, a blacksmith shop, sheds, and a stable. And the building's on the National Register of Historic Places, the whole complex is. And this Saturday morning, starting at 9:30 till 1:30, our blacksmith, he comes twice a year. He's pictured here, Richard Wright in the middle. He will be on site doing demonstrations. So that'll be ongoing. So if anyone can come by between 9:30 and 1:30, be sure to come by. Essex Street is going to be partially closed that day for another event in the afternoon, but just park on Methuen Street and walk around the corner and come see us. So today I'm going to share a little bit about what we have at the archives and tell you a little bit about the types of material. So we have collections in the archives, and collections are documents or material of any kind that accumulated as part of normal activity of an organization or a business or an individual, and that has been kept as a unit. So our largest collection is the Essex Company records, and this collection is incredibly diverse. It contains paper documents, tools, photographs, glass plate negatives, books, drawings, blueprints, almost anything you can think of in an archive, we have a type of it in the Essex Company collection. And there's a finding aid with it that's available online and printed hard copy at the History Center, which gives an overview of the Essex Company, a historical narrative of what they did, talks about the types of records that are in that collection and where they're located in the History Center. Because the most important thing in an archive is being able to find what people are looking for, not just having it and preserving it, but being able to find it. Next slide. And we also have other collections as well. So the Essex Company is our largest collection, which is thousands and thousands of papers and, again, photos, glass plate negatives. But then we have smaller collections that just fit in one box. But we have finding aids for them so someone can get a sense of what is in these collections. And the way you find those is on our website. You go to finding aids, and then you'll click on it, and it will open up a PDF where you can learn about what's in the collection. On the left, we have pictured from the Donald J. Christensen collection. He was a chemist and a dyer, and these, when you think of history, or when I think sometimes, you think black and white, or you think, did they have these bright, vivid colors back then? But yes, and we have the collection. There's dozens and dozens of books like that, and the recipes on how to make those colors. So that's just a small example of the types of collections we have. We also have subject boxes, and these are the most used collection and what people tend to ask for the most and what tends to be the most helpful for them. Because a subject box is exactly what it sounds like. It's a box of material organized by subject, and that's what's important about the subject box, whereas a collection, it's important of who made it. So for subject boxes, they're filled with all kinds of paper documents, like reports, programs, ephemera, flyers, diaries, tickets, invitations to events, programs, all the kind of that material that will help tell the story of a certain subject. And the material spans all years from the beginning of Lawrence to the present day. And the way these are, we don't have finding aids necessarily, like a big document, but the listings of the folders are on our website. Not all of them. We're always trying to get more. We have a few hundred subject boxes on all different topics again. Next slide. We also have an amazing collection of just objects and artifacts. So just general everyday life objects that we either used in everyday life in Lawrence or were relating to Lawrence in some way. So we have some of the trunks that immigrants used when they came here on the boat, when they came to the United States. We have a mask, and Jonas, who isn't here, actually donated this. This was a mask used during the flu pandemic of 1918, and it was made from fabric from the duck mill, and duck is a type of fabric, almost feels like a canvas type, and this young Lithuanian woman made this mask in 1918 to protect herself from the flu. And that was donated before COVID. It was back in 2018 he brought that in. So it was amazing to see us then having a pandemic, and we saved some unused masks for the collection too, because you want to always document history as it's happening. And then we have some souvenirs. Some of those glass items were like souvenirs that would have been given out, or a businessman had given them out. These items are not on display because we're not a museum and we don't have enough room to display everything, so we have them packed away and preserved, and we're in the process of taking pictures of all of them, so someone essentially could look through them, even if it's not in person looking through, they could look through pictures. And we're always happy to bring something out so you can see the original. Okay, next. We also have a big library. We have over 5,000 volumes written about Lawrence, either directly about Lawrence, or there might just be themes pertinent to Lawrence or Lawrence history. These are only available at the History Center, so we don't allow things to be checked out and have it leave the building. Everything has to stay on site, but someone could come and look through the book all day and be here open to close. And we have books from as far back as the late 1700s all the way to 2025 currently, something published kind of currently. Okay. And then we have an audio, visual, oral history collection, which is really cool to have. So the largest part of the audio collection are our oral histories. And an oral history, it's just a story a living individual tells another person about the past or the past lives of other people. And the reason we have such an extensive oral history is that was something very important to Eartha, to get people's voices on tape. So these were done on tape cassette back starting in 1978. And around that time, the strike of 1912 was beginning to be spoken about again in Lawrence, when the memory was suppressed for decades. And Eartha thought, we need to capture these stories while these people are still alive. So we have oral history interviews, the audio only, but of people who were alive in 1912, and they describe what they saw during the strike. It's so cool because you can hear their accents. Not all of our oral histories are in English. They're in the language of the person. So we have them in Spanish, Lebanese, Vietnamese, Lithuanian, Polish, German, all different languages. We have over 750 that were done on tape that we digitized, and then we also have about 50 or so that were done with an iPad, so you can watch it and listen, and those are done in English and or Spanish, so they have subtitles in whatever language they're not in. And then the audio, we have some records, like La Patrie was Jim would know, a French-Canadian studio. You won't be able to listen to it today, but a French-Canadian studio that was in Lawrence that recorded songs or comedy skits, all in French. And we have the actual records, which is amazing. And to see Lawrence Mass on the label is just so cool. And then we were featured in a video that Mass Humanities did a few years ago called Love Letters to Lawrence, which highlighted the work of the exhibit Somos Latinos, which is at the Lawrence Heritage State Park on the second floor, and highlighted the archival information from our collection that went into making that exhibit. We also have film reels. We just recently were donated a digitized film of the first airmail flight from the Lawrence Airport in 1938. So it's amazing, but not everything is digitized, so little by little we'll get that done. Our photograph collection is probably the most popular collection that people love to look at. We have over 50,000 actual photos going as far back as 1846 till today. Someone, Yadira Batances Muldoon, took pictures of the 9/11 memorial at the fire station in South Lawrence, and those are digital pictures. But we keep our photo collection. We're always adding to it. And so these are some examples. The photos are stored in a climate-controlled vault, so when researchers come, they look at copies. That way, the originals are not constantly handled, because that would lead to their degradation. And we also have glass plate negatives and slides. And some of these are digitized, most are not, but it's just a beautiful and wonderful collection to look back on, people of the past, Lawrence's past. Next. Then we have other archives, which you can see here. We have scrapbooks. We have a huge, I see healthcare workers here. We have a huge health collection. The finding aid is 50 pages. It's online. We have records, old records, of course, but from the health department, from the Bessie Burke Hospital, the Cottage Hospital, ledgers that talk about the different health problems like that Lawrence faced. It's an incredibly rich collection. And there's, again, a finding it online, but just I brought my cards here, so if anyone wants to make an appointment to come look at that, I'm happy to show. It's an amazing collection. Next. We also have textiles, so we have like military uniforms. Actually, in the middle, that's a cape from the Lawrence General Hospital School of Nursing. That is now closed, but it was in operation for a long, long time, and that's a cape. But we also have a nursing uniform from the early 1900s. It's neck to floor dress, and then the sleeves unbutton at the elbow. And you can take those off. It's just incredible. And we have the little pair of socks was made in the Marrow Knitting Mill, which was where the Everett Mill is. The dress, actually, that's tomorrow's Facebook post, but that dress was worn by a Lawrence High School graduate in 1897, and we actually have the dress in the archives. And again, the textiles are preserved, put away in a collection, in the clothes stacks, climate-controlled clothes stacks, but our goal is to have them photographed and readily available to see online. Next. And so how is this material used? So we get researchers from all over the world that visit Lawrence or reach out online through email. Just last year, in person, we had researchers from New Zealand and Japan who came in person specifically to Lawrence to do research. And then online, we helped people from Canada, Luxembourg, Iraq even. And that wasn't even our first researcher from Iraq. They were researching the strike of 1912 all over the US, all over Canada. But equally as important is we had a lot of researchers from Lawrence, because if the Lawrence community doesn't use the archive, what is the point? Because Eartham wanted us to be a community archive, save the history of the local people in Lawrence, and so we work a lot with different, like Elevated Thought comes to the History Center to do research for their murals, the schools, we work with the schools, so we work with the community, and that's just as important as a researcher from overseas. And next. And so doing research at the Lawrence History Center, so we're a private nonprofit, so we have to raise all our own money. We don't have an endowment or get any money that we don't raise. So we ask that researchers take out a membership, and that's very minimal, once a year cost. Lawrence students never have to pay a membership to do research, so that's something to keep in mind. Just to come in for a tour, there's no cost. This is really for someone who wants to support us, or if they think they'll be coming again and again to use the archives. When you come, there's a research room policy, like no food or drinks in the research room. It's a good idea to keep careful notes of what you look at, and we'll keep those notes as well. And to make an appointment, that's really the most important thing. We have such a small staff. It's just me and our director. We have a lot of great volunteers, but when you come to do research, we bring the material out to you, so we want to be sure we have time to sit with you and not be distracted by something else. So if you do walk in, of course, we'll try to help you, but it's best to make an appointment so we can best help you. And I just want to thank the Lawrence Partnership and throw in that partnership is the perfect word in Lawrence, especially in the historical community. I'm just looking at everyone in the audience, like Jaden and Lindsey from the library. We work with them all the time because they have so much that we don't have that researchers are looking for. So I'm like, oh, go see Jaden and Lindsey at the library. So that is awesome. And then the Heritage State Park is the museum for Lawrence. And we don't have exhibits, and we don't have a huge space. So sometimes someone is just wanting to walk around, look at an exhibit, we send them to the Heritage State Park. And then the last thing I'll say, because Jonas wasn't here, he's from the Lawrence Historic Commission. So they deal with buildings, they deal with if you can tear down a building or make changes to a building. At the History Center, we don't have any say in that, and that's not our role at all. You can do research about a building here, but we're not the ones to go to for any kind of permission and that kind of thing. That's the Lawrence Historic Commission. And with that, I'll end, and I look forward to questions at the end if anyone has any. Thank you.
Keep that.
Sure, yeah.
Piece. No.
Yeah. Oh, that one,
There you
sorry.
go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amita. Well done. Next, I'd like to have Rich Padova come and say a few words, and we'll try to hold the questions until the very end. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, George, and thank you, Genesis, sorry, for having me here this evening. I do need to leave as soon as I'm done with my presentation. I won't be able to linger, but But I think everybody pretty much here knows how to get a hold of me anyway. During the summer, I am the tour interpreter, AKA tour guide at Lawrence Heritage State Park. Last week on Labor Day, I completed my 21st summer there. That's where I am all summer, every summer. So next year I'll be back there in the middle of May for my 22nd season. So during the summer, I give museum tours. The Lawrence Heritage State Park is a museum and a visitor center. And so when people come in, we greet them and, you have any questions for us? And would you like a guided tour, self-guided tour? And, we have people who express an interest in either one. So if they would like a guided tour, either myself or the visitor services supervisor will give a guided tour. I also have a program of walking tours of the historic Mill District that I do during the summer. So I have various thematic tours, walking tours that I give. So for example, there's the the Gateway District walking tour, the walk to the Great Stone Dam, the Monuments and Martyrs tour, the Alleyways and Architecture tour, and a couple of others, the Bread and Roses Strike walking tour. So, I try to cover it all there. And then on Saturday mornings, during July and August, I give narrated boat tours of the Merrimack River, okay? So those are basically the bulk of what I do at Lawrence Heritage during the summer. Now, Lawrence Heritage itself, as some of you know, is a restored boarding house from 1848 on Canal Street in the historic Mill District. And we just celebrated or observed or marked our 39th anniversary. Okay, so we opened on September 1st, 1986. That was Labor Day. The incumbent governor at the time, Michael Dukakis, presided over the grand opening. And during the grand opening activities that week, we had about 4,000 people taking part in all of the activities, which was very good. So my intention is so next summer, September 1st of 2026, we will be observing our 40th anniversary at Lawrence Heritage. So my intention, if I get the necessary approvals from DCR, the Department of Conservation and Recreation, which oversees the Heritage State Parks in Massachusetts, my intention is to have a public celebration there for our 40th, our milestone 40th anniversary. Okay, one of the highlights of summer there at Lawrence Heritage, some of you know this, is the old-fashioned 4th of July celebration. Next summer will probably be a big summer at Lawrence Heritage because it'll be the 20th annual old-fashioned 4th of July celebration. And it'll be my plan is to make it a 2-day celebration next year because it's a milestone, both for Lawrence Heritage and for the United States. So Friday, July 3rd and Saturday, July 4th, we have a slate, or I have a slate of activities already planned for those 2 days. And then again, hopefully on September 1st, a celebration of our 40th anniversary. So again, we are the museum, basically the history museum for the city of Lawrence. We have 3 floors of exhibits. Up on the 3rd floor, we have a gallery with changing exhibits. Right now, we have the private collection of a friend of the park, actually Tom Spitaleri, who's taping this for us tonight, his bicentennial or part. He'll always tell me, oh, Rich, no, it's only part of my collection, and I'm sure it is. Just a small part of his bicentennial collection is on display until September 28th. And by the way, I forgot, I just thought of it, one of my summer programs there, because Tom tapes them, is the Bring Your Own Lunch program. That's on Wednesdays at 12 noon during June, July, and August. Myself and other speakers present a topic of historic interest. I put out snacks, but people are invited to bring their lunch. They can eat while the speaker is talking, and it's like an educational series. Okay, so basically, in a nutshell, that's what Lawrence Heritage is all about. And Jim Beauchesne, the former VSS there, who I worked with for many years until he retired, he'll be telling you, I'm sure, anything I forgot, perhaps he'll be telling you more about Lawrence Heritage this evening and about the Friends group that we have there. A wonderful group of people. I appreciate all their help every year, every summer, and you can never have too many friends, as they say, right? Okay. So again, thank you all for coming tonight, and I appreciate your being here, and I hope now perhaps you know a little bit more about Lawrence Heritage than you might have known previously. Okay? So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Rich. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, next, I think we have a team, Lindsey and Jaden, who are going to come up and present together from the library. So, welcome.
Alrighty, well, good evening, everyone. I'm very happy to be here tonight to speak on behalf of the library. So, my name is Lindsey Gazlay. I'm the reference librarian and special collections archivist here at the library, which really positions me to deal with adult services. But specifically tonight, in general, we're going to be talking about the local history and the special collections archives here at the library that is available for the public. So, you can go to the next slide. We have quite a robust archives collection for a public library. Those pictures here are pictures of the archives upstairs. Can't quite tell how big it is, but it's quite a large room, and it's got, I would say, maybe 10 rows back on each side, maybe 7 or 8 wings on each side, so it's pretty large. And a lot of that was accessioned by our predecessor, Louise Sandberg, so we have to mention her. But the archives is closed to the public, so all of these collections can be taken out by request. And we also have local history browsing materials here on the second floor, which can be browsed through at your convenience. There's no special access required for that. It's out here on the second floor with the rest of the adult collection. So the archives and the local history encompasses many, many different materials. I'm not going to read the whole list, but I do want to mention a few of them. So a lot of the researchers we get here are doing genealogy research. We also have some professional researchers. We have police logs. We have textile history. We have annual school reports, a lot of photographs, a lot of architecture plans from the city engineering department, different buildings and city streets, blueprints, maps. So it's quite a lot. It's quite a lot. And you can go to the next slide. So what makes the items in the library accessible to the public for us to read and view and understand about is the catalog. So I want to draw your attention to the online public access catalog. You can see this online via the website, and any library staff can always help anybody search the catalog. So I want to mention that as well. This is our website here. It's a brand new website. It's a work in progress, but it's coming along very well. So you can access the OPAC, or the public access catalog, through the Lawrence website. So if you hit resources at the top, you hit more there, yep, and then you would go to resources and you hit books, that'll bring you to the catalog. We also have pages for every department here at the library. So the special collections page, if you go to departments and you go down to special collections, that will bring you to the special collections page. And there is copious amounts of collections and lists, finding aids, digital resources, indexes on this page. But like I said, me or Jaden or I can always help you navigate that for your research if you do need help with it. So as we all know, Lawrence is an immigrant city, so the collections really reflect that. It's known for its multi-ethnic and multicultural history of being home to the Irish, French, Canadian, English, and German in the late 1800s, and then to the Italians, Poles, Lithuanians, and Syrians in the early 1900s, and then we have the Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Cubans, Vietnamese, and Cambodians after that. So what do we do with these local history materials? Well, everything that we do here at the library is really to facilitate access to you all, to the public, to Lawrence, and beyond. So we are collecting, we're gathering, we're cataloging, we're processing, preserving, arranging, describing, researching, interpreting, assisting, and we're promoting. A lot of the times, it's a lot of information, there's a lot to learn. So we are teachers and stewards, we're here to tell you about all of that. So we put some pictures here just as an example of different things in the collection. Down there at the bottom are the city directories. You can imagine those are pretty well used. We also have La Información, which is a Spanish newspaper that was active in the 90s. That's all digitized online. You can view that. There's a picture on the left of a Lawrence blueprint building. We have mill photographs. So as I mentioned, people come here to do their own research, but we also will take research inquiries on behalf of people if they prefer. So we did, from January 2024 until March, we closed 104 research requests. Since then, we've done quite a bit more. And like I said, a lot of it is genealogical research. So we have newspapers, city directories, census information, biographies, and a great resource is Ancestry Library, which is a database that the library has here for the public, and you can access it in the building. You have to be here to access it, and we can also help do research on your behalf with the Ancestry Library. We also have the Queens City Catalog, which was started by Louise, and we continue to add to it. If you'd ever like a little bit more explanation, if you feel like the catalog is a little bit lacking, you're not sure, if maybe you would like to look at a certain collection, you can always go to the blog and search it, and there'll be some more information there for you. And so now I'd like to pass it over to Jaden. He's going to take it away with the newspapers.
Hello, everyone. As Lindsey said, my name is Jaden Belizaire. I am part of the library staff here at the library. And today I will be talking to you guys about one of our most important collections that we get frequent calls for, the newspaper collection. So to start off, I'm going to speak about the newspapers on microfilm. We have about 37 different newspapers on microfilm that range all the way back to the mid-1800s. And if you're not familiar with microfilm or microfilm reel, it's just it's a roll of film that you put in the microfilm machine to look at all of the old newspapers from way back when. And you're able to look at this. Well, actually, let me just first say, it's located on the second floor of the library in the reference department, which you guys are here now. So if you want to take a look at it real quick after this, it's over there. Yes, to continue on, we do plan on digitizing the good amount of the newspapers that are here. Like I said before, it's about 37 of them. It takes some time, but we're certainly going to get to it. And actually, what I really find interesting about these newspapers is something I wasn't really aware of beforehand. It was just how far and wide there are different types of people that used to live here in Lawrence. I mean, besides just the ones that are in English, we have ones that are French, other newspapers that are in Italian. I believe there's one that's in Arabic, if I see that correctly.
German.
And we also have one in German as well. So just another reminder of how diverse this city has always been, which I think is very beautiful. And people do get a lot of uses out of this collection. For myself, I usually help people to do research requests. So a lot of the time, they're looking for genealogy type requests, right? Looking for family members, trying to figure out when they were born, when they died. So a lot of the time, I'll help find obituaries or find date of births. And it is also a self-serve microfilm machine with assistance. So you can come in to just go and look at it. Of course, with me and Lindsey, we can get the microfilm reel for you. You can get started up if you're not sure how to use it. That being said, though, we do prefer to people to make appointments to use the microfilm machine, just so there's not any butting schedules together, right? And you can also do that by giving us a call, email, or just coming to the desk too to make an appointment for another time. Let's change it. So we have here our digitized newspaper collection. And thanks to the efforts of the Boston Public Library and their statewide initiative to digitize collections on behalf of patrons, we're able to get this on the Digital Commonwealth website, as you can see on the top left corner of the page. And honestly, it is a very massive resource. I can't understate that enough with all of the newspapers you can see in here, but I'm about to go into more detail about that now. So, one of the newspapers that we do have digitized is the Evening Tribune. As you see here, the years are 1890 to 1929. We are currently working to get more digitized for the near future. And again, this is a very important collection. Well, for one, if you're not able to get into the library in person, this is a great way to go look at it, just to the comfort of your own home. Just look at all the scans of newspapers. And furthermore, we also have a various amount of other collections here too. Besides just the Evening Tribune, we have a collection, for example, of Father James T. O'Reilly. We have one from the Flag Parade in Lawrence back in 1912, if I remember correctly. We also have photos of the flood from 1933. There's a lot of digitized images that you're able to see online if you are not able to come in person, and it's a very valuable resource to our community. And also towards the right to, it's just a little example of how you can just flip through page by page to look at newspapers. There's also a search function as well too. So say you're looking for an ancestor, you could type in their name as well and it'll be easier to find them. So great resources.
Individual edition, right?
As an individual edition as well. And yes, another great digital resource we do have here is the Lawrence High School yearbooks. Now this is another well-used collection here. A lot of people love nostalgia. They love the past, so they'll do what they can to look at photos themselves from back in the day, pictures of friends. Also, I've also had particular research requests from people. Like for example, there was one patron. He wanted a list of every head coach from Lawrence High School basketball from day one, basically. And I don't know really why he wanted it, but he wanted it, so I was able to do that service for him, and I think that's really great. And he probably didn't realize it was online, but I did it for him, and he got his papers, and this is what we do here. This is the great thing about having the digitized collection. It's just so easy for you to access it, so anyone can see it. And again, I would always like to say that due to the Boston Public Library's help with their initiative of digitizing everything for us, we're able to get this not exactly on the Digital Commonwealth website, but on the Internet Archive website. Yes. And after we have donations. So we accept donations on a case-by-case basis as it aligns with our special collections development policy criteria. And some of this criteria for inclusion is the relevance to Lawrence, authenticity of records, non-duplication of material with the collection, a quality of physical form material, a cost to preserve, store, and process, and lastly, restrictions by donor as well. And I will say we do have a particular interest in yearbooks. We do have quite a few already, but we would like more. We do have a lot of Lawrence High School yearbooks, but not all of them. As you can see on the board, we need from 1921 to 1943. And we do have Central Catholic High School yearbooks physically in our archive as well, but we do need more of them from 35 to 45, 61, and onward. And this goes for Greater Lawrence Technical School, St. Patrick High School, the Arlington, many schools. I know for myself, I would like to see one of my elementary schools, Our Lady of Good Counsel, if anyone used to go there back in the day, it used to be called St. Augustine too.
Or if you'd just like to let us see it and we'll give it back to you, that's fine too.
Yeah, man. No, if it's something that's has to do with Lawrence history, you think it has some value to not just yourself but to the community and beyond that, please get in touch with us. Again, by phone call, email, or just come in person. We're very kind people. We'd love to have you. And that's all. Thank you, Lawrence Partnership. I appreciate you guys so much for setting this up. And thank you guys for coming here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. So at this time, I would like to ask Amita, come on, and if you could stay up, Lindsay, and maybe if you guys have questions from the audience, or if you guys like to make some comments, we kind of try to encourage a little bit of a conversation back and forth. And Jim, if you'd like to.
Would it be all right if I scoot up to the podium?
If you have some words of wisdom,
I
we'd love
have
to hear
some
them.
words, I'm not sure about the wisdom.
Okay.
Thank you all. Just a couple of quick things I wanted to add. And by the way, my name's Jim Beauchesne. I am the former Visitor Services Supervisor at Lawrence Heritage State Park, and I am the current president of the Friends of Lawrence Heritage State Park. And Rich did a really nice job talking about the park, but there's just a couple of basic things I want to add. One being that the Visitor Center, which is housed in a former Yankee Mill Girl boarding house, is open 7 days a week from 9 to 4, and admission is always free. The permanent exhibit on the history of Lawrence occupying the first 2 floors is very well done. And up on the 3rd floor, there is that gallery for temporary exhibits, which alternates between art and historical exhibits, as well as a community room where many events are held. And the visitor center is more than a museum. It is a visitor center. So we have groups having meetings and functions there on a very regular basis. We also happen to be having a very interesting event on Saturday with a marine biology group that is bringing in an inflatable whale. Full size. That's going to be on Saturday in Visitor Center Park, which is the little open-air park next door to the Visitor Center. And of course, Rich mentioned all the myriad activities he does every summer, but it must be said that the park is open all year round, and we're offering programs all year round, walking tours as well as other events. One upcoming event, and I'm going to put my Friends of Lawrence Heritage State Park hat on. The Friends of Lawrence Heritage State Park, which is a nonprofit organization supporting the park, does a number of things through the year, most notably the trolley tours that are offered on Labor Day as part of the Bread and Roses Festival, historical trolley tours of Lawrence. But we also have occasional other events through the year, and our annual meeting is taking place on Wednesday, October 29, with a very special guest speaker who just happens to be sitting here in the front row, Jay Dowd, who's going to be talking about his new book on the history of the White Fund, which should be very interesting. So that's, I think, all I wanted to say, and I'll be happy to take questions if anybody has any. Yes?
Can you please say again what the book is on again? His book, I forget, sorry. His book was...
What Jay's book is.
I'm sorry.
What's the topic of Jay's book?
Yeah, it's about the White Fund. The White Fund is a, correct me if I'm wrong, the White Fund is a fund that was established by a resident of Lawrence many years ago, mid-1800s, for educational purposes, and has been, for the most part, sponsoring lectures in Lawrence ever since, excuse me, as well as providing some grant funding to historical organizations in Lawrence as well, and other organizations, I'm sure.
So what's the first word of the book? Why?
White.
White.
Named after Mr. White.
Okay.
Named after Daniel Appleton White.
And And we can add that they are early founders of the library also, and we have extensive White Fund history collections upstairs also.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you.
Other question, please?
Now, questions on the newspapers. Is the digitization of the Tribune going to continue beyond 1929?
Yes, it will continue after 1929. We are currently working on to get it to 1950. What was it?
Yeah, so BPL has experienced some funding cuts at the national level, which is why the project has slowed down. They're still hopeful and they're still committed to it, but we don't have a timeline as to when they're going to pick back up from 1929 and upload the rest of it.
Sure, but the plan is to continue.
They are committed to 1959, and then the copyright gets a little bit more complicated, and we'll have to get the rest of it digitized another way after that.
Now, that's a great thing. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
The second question is it then searchable?
It's searchable, yes, by edition. So if you choose the newspaper date that you're looking at and you go into that newspaper, you can word search individually by newspaper edition. You can't search, all of them at once. Yeah.
Each issue, right?
Yep.
I have a question on the digitization process. What does that actually look like with your organization too? Like, when it's like a newspaper, is that just scanning endlessly into a computer? And if it's an object, like, what is that? Like, do you still like take a picture of it and upload it? So that's for anyone that can answer.
Yeah, for the History Center, our digitization on a large scale is almost always done by another organization because we don't have the staff or the capacity to just exactly sit at a scanner.
It sounds like a lot of work.
Yep, so what we have on the BPL website are our photographs, and our goal is to get more up like the library has. And the way we got our photographs digitized, and we also have a segment of diaries from the Alice O'Connor collection, is we sent the material to the Boston Public Library and they scanned a certain amount for us. So that's what enabled us to do more digitization than we could just do on our own.
You could film like the physical.
The physical, yep. That was definitely a special occasion where we felt comfortable enough. It's the Boston Public Library, and with the talks that we actually sent our photos to the BPL and they scan them. But we have photographs that are not scanned that we can just scan in-house or take a picture of if someone knows we have a photo of something they want to see but it's not digitized. With our tape cassettes, we digitize them in-house. We have 2 tape cassettes like going at once, hooked up to our computer system, and we would physically, it would be in real time, we'd play the tape, it would digitize, and then there was a lot more to that. And then we take photos of things like the objects or the textiles. So digitization at the History Center, at least, is on demand just because of the intensity of the time and the resources it takes. And we also, all the time, I can't say how much we use the newspapers we have digitized because they're so, I can't stress enough what an incredible resource it is to find things on there because they're searchable, and we refer our researchers quite often to that database as well. And just today I used the Lawrence High spreadsheet. The library has a spreadsheet that was created, I think, under Louise, that lists every single Lawrence High graduate from the very beginning in the 1850s up to 2019. And today a researcher was entering our own Lawrence High photos in our database, and there were some names she couldn't read. And I said, oh, you know what? Go to we know it's class of 1905, go to their spreadsheet. And sure enough, it was such a help. So we use the digitization the library's done quite often too.
Right, other questions? Well, thank you guys. Really appreciate a round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you.